Most adults aren't lazy or unmotivated. They're emotionally exhausted in ways they don't even have the language to explain.
And the reason this exhaustion feels confusing is because no one ever taught them what emotional burnout actually looks like in real life.
This isn't the kind of tiredness that sleep fixes, because what's exhausted isn't the body, but the mind itself.
Emotional exhaustion happens when your mind stays alert, stressed, and responsible for too long without any real sense of safety or rest.
In psychology, emotional exhaustion is defined as prolonged mental and emotional stress that slowly drains your internal energy reserves.
It builds up through years of responsibilities, expectations, and pressure, while recovery keeps getting postponed. When this continues long enough, the brain stops aiming for happiness and switches entirely into survival mode.
That's why emotionally exhausted adults often wake up already tired, even after what should have been a full night's sleep.
It feels like your energy is permanently low, as if something inside you never fully recharges anymore.
Even simple tasks begin to feel heavy and overwhelming, not because they are difficult, but because your mental capacity is already full. Your mind isn't failing you, it's simply overloaded from carrying too much for too long. Over time, joy fades quietly, and things that once excited you start to feel distant or emotionally flat.
This emotional numbness isn't apathy, it's your nervous system protecting itself from further overload. As adults, we're expected to keep functioning, providing, and showing up, no matter how depleted we feel inside.
But psychology is clear that human beings were never designed to live under constant emotional pressure without relief. When stress has no healthy outlet, it doesn't disappear, it turns inward and starts eroding the mind.
The most dangerous part of emotional exhaustion is what people start believing about themselves.
Emotionally exhausted adults often blame themselves for not coping better.
They begin to think they're weak, lazy, unmotivated, or somehow broken beyond repair.
But psychology tells us something very different and far more compassionate. What's actually happening is that your nervous system has been overwhelmed for far too long. And an overwhelmed nervous system doesn't need criticism, it needs safety and recovery.
The first step toward healing is reducing the constant mental input your brain is exposed to. Less noise, less stimulation, and fewer demands allow the nervous system to finally slow down. The second step is learning to create emotional boundaries that protect your limited energy. You are allowed to rest, say no, and stop performing strength all the time.
The third step is reconnecting with small moments of meaning that ground you in the present. Not massive goals or pressure, but simple moments that remind your nervous system it is safe. Rest is not quitting, and it has never been a sign of weakness. Rest is how the mind repairs itself after carrying too much for too long. If parts of this video felt uncomfortably familiar to you, that awareness matters. It's because it means you're not alone, and you're not imagining this struggle. And you don't need to fix your entire life all at once to begin healing. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is give your mind permission to rest.